Today's guest on the What Fuels You podcast is Shahar Plinner. Shahar is the co-founder and CEO of Formations and a tax guru and entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience in the field. He is an advocate for the self-employed and helps them stop the overpayment of taxes and keep their hard-earned money for better consumption, investment, and retirement. Shahar has managed thousands of clients' tax returns, business structures, and S-corps, and before he founded Formations, he built a successful tax accounting practice in Seattle, serving over 3,500 customers. Shahar is married with 3 amazing children. Welcome, Shahar. So good to see you.
See you, Shahar.
So I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire. Ready?
Ready.
Okay. Since you just got back from Israel and you're Israeli, I'm so curious, falafel or shawarma?
Shawarma.
Oh, I'm all falafel all day.
Yeah.
Shawarma.
Yeah.
What is the most beautiful or beach that you frequent the most in Israel?
Israel has few kind of great beaches. I think the one in Herzliya, it's just close by, white sand beach, great amenities, mainly around, food, restaurant, drinks. So,
do you know that I have not been there? What's your favorite way to stay in shape?
Running and swimming, but as I told you before, I hurt my shoulder a little bit over playing some racquetball, so I mainly run now.
Yeah. So tell me, what's your favorite way to unwind and relax?
Family, it's a big one. We have so Ortal and I have 3 kids, so 12, 11, and 4. So the 4-year-old is definitely, our treat at the moment, kind of with the older kids. So Ben is our kind of go-to when we need some time off. He's a great inspiration and has a good kind of mood. But outdoor, just being outdoor as an Israeli, just growing outdoor, just being outdoor every moment that we can just be out of the house, either hiking or just being in the nature. It's a good kind of relaxation for me.
Yeah. And so tell me, what's the very first thing you do when you wake up?
Checking my emails.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
They say that's not, I do the same, and they say that's what you're not supposed to do. I actually get my coffee too.
Yeah, I hate it. Coffee is definitely, we have a coffee machine at home. So we usually the coffee is kind of, a ceremony, traditional in the morning, or and I kind of sitting and drinking and have kind of a catch up before the day starts. But bad habit, checking my phone, and we're working a lot with international and overseas. So waking up in the morning, my inbox is already full. But bad habit. And if you have any recommendations how to get rid of that habit, happy to.
It's impossible. I think you have to I've been told to sleep with the phone in like another room, and I can't do it. I check it even in the middle of the night sometimes when I wake up.
I stopped checking emails in the middle of the night. But first thing in the morning, waking up, checking the stock market.
Yeah. And then, I don't do that. Yeah. Okay. So tell me, what's a bucket list vacation spot? Place you want to go visit?
Wow. We planned actually in December of 20. So we planned on December 2020 going to Australia, which, we canceled because of COVID. So definitely Australia and kind of the other part of the world is definitely a place we want to go. Africa is on our bucket list. Maybe the Bar Mitzvah. For the kids, we'll do a safari or something. And always Europe. Europe is always fun for us. My mom turning 80 in a week. So we're planning going skiing with my parents in Morzine, which is an hour out of Geneva in February. So, hope that everybody will be healthy and the sky will be open so we can actually go. But this is kind of my next big trip, 5-6 days in Switzerland and France. So
that'll be amazing. Okay. So if you could have any skill, which one would you choose?
Wow. I want to be invisible.
So that you could what?
So I can just disappear, It's not about kind of me watching others. It's more about me just being there, but just, cannot sing. So sometimes I just need some quiet time to disappear.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to get into your childhood. So you were raised in Israel. Where exactly in Israel?
So so my parents live in a city called Petah Tikva, which is about 10-15 minutes outside of Tel Aviv. It's kind of the big Tel Aviv metropolitan. I'm not sure if I have like, sad crying stories. I kind of grew up in a middle class, family. I have two older brothers. I'm the youngest out of three. So I've kind of, my nickname is kind of the prince. I was always the prince of the
You're
family.
the baby.
I'm the baby. Always the prince is coming from Seattle. It's kind of, every time I'm coming back home now, it's a big ceremony.
Is the whole family still in Israel?
Yeah, everybody. So
Wow.
two of my older brothers, my parents, or Tal's family. So yeah.
And what were you into when you were little? Like, what was your way of having fun, way of staying engaged? And
I think I was very social. So friends were always around me, both boys and girls. I had a girlfriend, in middle school, which was a big mistake. I don't recommend anybody to have a girlfriend in middle school, for sure, not for 6 years. It's taking some of the fun of middle school and high school. But always were around friends and social and being outdoor. I was playing basketball all the way until high school. I'm not big enough. I'm only, 6 foot in a good day. But I was very talented, but not big enough. But social always kind of distracted me. So, when I had to commit more to be a little bit more professional, I always pull back kind of to social. I was in a drama class, kind of in acting. I think it's definitely a talent that I'm taking with me. Kind of learning how not to fear from the crowd or be comfortable around people. So I think it's a good lesson because it was for me the foundation of kind of my future career as part of networking and working with people.
You're great at it. I've been in situations where I've seen you, and yeah, you're very comfortable in a crowd.
I think it's coming from really early age of being, again, the third out of my older brother is 11 years older than me. So I think it's just gaining confidence around adults all the time. So I was very comfortable speaking to adults and being around. But then again, drama classes and acting classes and being very social. This was kind of my most of my youth.
Right. And do you remember what you wanted to be when you were little? Did you have an idea of like, oh, when I'm big, if I could be successful, it would look like X, Y, Z?
I can tell you what I was sure that I don't want to be. And I'm coming from a family-owned business. And as I continue to grow, I was kind of pulling into the family-owned business with not so much of my decision. And I hated every day of that, and I couldn't wait to be out of the business.
What kind of business is it?
It's an insurance business. So it's very kind of demanding, and my dad is a character, he's being part of the insurance industry for, 50 years, is in kind of very old school, still wearing a suit to the office, still going to the office now, age 82, wearing a suit in a 90 days of 90 Fahrenheit,
where he got the briefcase.
The briefcase, kind of all of the, the hardcore managing an office,
So you didn't want to be in the family business. Did you have a sense of like what direction you wanted to take?
I knew that I want to be around people. I want to do something with people. I was not sure if it's running a pizza place or if it was, something more professional, but it was always around people.
And were you a good student? Was school kind of your thing, or not?
It was okay. Things came, very naturally and easy for me. If I was just put a little bit more effort, it probably be better. But again, as I told you, I was very distracted with social. So as I continue to grow up in high school years, it's kind of the most active, in my opinion, social years. So it just kind of, took me away a little bit of school. But yeah, graduate high school, got into a great college in Israel. So overall, again,
is it called Reichman? How do you
now it's an official university, Reichman, but at the time it was the first private college in Israel, the IDC, the Interdisciplinary Center. So it started as a private college, and literally 2 months ago, I think they got the university kind of title. So now it become the Reichman University because it's Professor Uriel Reichman is the one that founded that. it was a great experience.
Who was kind of directing you through all of that? Because I mean, obviously I was raised here, not in Israel. What's the process of looking at college? Is it like here where most people go to college?
Most people go to college. I don't think there was, for sure, there was no family direction. I think the family direction, both of my brothers are attorneys. Both of my sister-in-laws are attorneys. One of my sister-in-laws, actually, she's
fun family dinners.
She's a judge. So there was always, the push around, study a real occupation. So become an attorney, there was always something to do with, but again, it's not what I like.
Talk about not in front of people. That's like paperwork.
Yeah. So I went and studied business and finance. I was always kind of, naturally good with numbers, but there's no really direction. And I think that lacking that part, maybe just for me, family-wise, my parents were, I don't know, doing some other things, and I was kind of the youngest. So I'm not sure if it was in their top of mind, but
the prince had it made because you got the social skills, you got all the athletic prowess.
The prince had to figure out things for himself.
The prince had to figure it out. How did you end up coming to the US? Like, how old were you when you ended up coming?
So I was part of the business, by nature, I was putting into the business. So it was 2005 when I actually end up in military reserve service. So I was in the military. So once you graduate 18, high school in Israel, you are drafted to the army. So the Israeli army, it's a mandatory service, 3 years. So I joined the army in November of 1995, all the way until 98. And then in 2005, I was in reserve, spending about a month, outside home, kind of, in the military environment, scenery. And I had a lot to think about kind of my future. And the second I came back home, I told my dad, that's it, decision made, I'm out of the business. Surprisingly, he was very supportive and, encouraged me to find, my new way in life. And then I got introduced through his accountant to a guy that has tax practices in the US. And when he and I met, it was kind of all what I want. It was an experience away from home. It was on finance. Start talking to me about taxes. I got it. I see taxes, it's super easy for me. And it's working with people, helping people, democratize, complicated concept and help people to navigate, taxes. You can make a lot of money. There's opportunities. So I was sold. So
you came straight to Seattle?
Straight from Tel Aviv to Kirkland,
This is probably such an embarrassingly ignorant question, but like, how did the taxes work in Israel versus the US?
So Israel is a social country, so taxes are high because you get, free healthcare, and most of education is subsidized. So tax system is super aggressive. If you're ending up lower than 50% tax, you're lucky. So both as a self-employed, both as an employee or as an employer, heavily taxed kind of state. And then you move to the US. Yeah, it's a complicated system, but so complicated, but so much opportunistic for the taxpayers to plan. I always say that, the tax code is kind of the map, and you just need to find the right ways, someone that really understand the tax code and help you to navigate through the complexity. So we'll speak a little bit later about, formations and GPL, but this was kind of the mission. The mission was, hey, I have a unique knowledge and I would love to share it with the world. And if I can monetize it and make money out of it,
So you came from Tel Aviv to Kirkland to work with this person. They hired you and you worked for them as did they mentor you and kind of teach you the business?
Yeah. So we started kind of back in Israel in June of 2005. We start like internal education. They have like a curriculum that they teach people for 6 months how to become preparers or how to become consultants. At the same time, Ortel and I got married, so it was September wedding, and then November I took off. So she stayed in Israel for another month just to sell the apartment, sell the goods and everything. And she moved here in January of 2006.
Wow.
And yeah, I started working for the dude in a small practice in Kirkland. It was a new acquisition. They just purchased the practice in Juanita, in north of Kirkland, and they brought me kind of to manage it. So I took over.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I took over the practice in January of 2006. So 2006 January was kind of, my first tax season.
Wow. And when did you realize that you kind of had an entrepreneurial bug and you wanted to kind of start your own, because you started GPL, right?
Yep. So GPL started in 2010. So in 2006, when I started kind of, running the show, because I was the only person here, I had a couple of employees. I kind of figure out that one, I see taxes, so it's super easy for me. Second, I love kind of the interaction with people, both the team and the customers, and the processes and the efficiency that they start kind of putting into the practice, just paying in big bucks. He's happy, my boss, I'm happy, I'm making more money. I see kind of what's the path of growing the practice even more, but it was constant collision or constant argument with my boss, with the founder of the business. I wanted to take a direction that I saw that there was way more opportunities to make money, and he was very narrow focus about the segment that we are servicing. And in 2009, it was enough for me. Also, there was some internal issues. They've been doing some, in taxes, there is kind of this line that you need to be really, really strong not to cross. And once you kind of draw the line in the sand or whatever, steps beyond that line can be, a free fall from a cliff. You need to be really careful. And these guys, have been practicing for 25 years, and they've been very, very aggressive, very, very, very aggressive to the point that it started making some issues. And again, I don't mind to be aggressive. I don't mind to put kind of the customer in the middle, but I would never put the customer in a risk. And they basically didn't think about the customers. They thought about themselves. So with the fact that he didn't want to go my direction, which is fine, it's his business. I totally understand it now. And the fact that there was some risk factors, real risk factors for myself, for the family, for my existing or my future, staying in the US, I decided to just go on my own.
Yeah. So you started GPL, and that you were in a really successful tax, accounting, and advisory. Yep. It's like, who were some, I know I read in the intro, 3,500 customers. What was the hardest part of getting that business going? Because clearly this business comes naturally to you. Was it about customer acquisition? Was it about hiring employees? Like, what's the hardest part of starting up that type of business?
So the hardest part for me specifically in that specific situation was the fact that we opened the shop. We opened basically the first office, the Bellevue office, in January 1st of 2010.
Terrible time.
Yeah. And in January 29 days later, I've been served with my previous employer for non-compete and non-soliciting. And these guys, as I'm telling you, they've been, now I can tell you, they've been crooks because they've been indicted after, and they've been serving some time in jail. But at the time, they went after me directly, for personal reasons. It went off the business to be super personal. And for almost 18 months, until about June of 2021, kind of Ortal and I had to fight for our life. And at the same time, grow the business. At the same time, we had 2 babies. At the same time, I did my MBA. At the same time, you need to...
Fun times, the craziest time of your life.
So one of the craziest time of my life, but I was so confident at my ability to create my own reality. And I think this is part of my theme in life, institutionals and processes and procedures and bureaucracy. At the end of the day, everything is created by human. So if everything is created by human, everything can be,
undone by human. Yeah.
So I was I was depend on my attorney's advice, and I was depend on some consultant, whatever. But at the end of the day, we've been running the show. Ortal and I, we've been running the show. We've been the people that kind of, that run all of the strategy, and it paid off. Again, it took some time, It was super painful. But at the same time, I think we came strong. I always say it's the extra curriculum that you don't study at MBA. You know, it was a life lesson. But from business perspective, I think hiring is the hardest part. I think you don't realize, like, I had this kind of perception that I'm opening the door and I'm going to be the best employer ever, and people will just, you know, line up and, you know, and I will like Molly Bloom ice cream, you know, and I would just have to go and pick up, you know, the talent that I want. And unfortunately, it's not so much like that, you know? So I think hiring was a lesson for us.
Yeah.
Sure.
So where does the business GPL stand now, and what gap did you see in the market that inspired you to start Formations?
So I'm an insider into the tax and accounting world, but I'm an outsider as I'm not a CPA. I'm what to call an unenrolled. You know, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an EA. I'm a tax master, I'm a tax guru. I'm someone that see and understand taxes and passionate about it. But as such, we could not establish, you know, a CPA firm, nor I wanted to establish a CPA firm. So we always wanted to be kind of categorized as a consulting, you know, boutique consulting, tax and accounting, that most responsible for tax planning and execution and strategy, less about the preparation. And as such, you know, it was always for me a discussion that GPL is just an accelerator for me. You know, it's a way for me to start being an entrepreneur in the US, but I always knew that in my journey for the next 10 years, my 10 years mission was to find something next for me. And as a high net individual consultant, you know, I was dealing with people in Tel Aviv, in Seattle, in the Bay Area, and always people say, hey, Shahar, come work with me on real estate, come work with me on that investment, let's open a startup here. And I always kind of, you know, in the essentialism, I kind of, you know, explore the opportunity and kill it immediately, because real estate, who wants to talk to buildings? You know, I'm a people person. I want to speak to people, and just working for someone else or just do, you know, a venture with someone, always come back to the industry, because I think that there is so much opportunity in the tax and accounting, because it's so old-fashioned, fragmented, arcade. You know, unfortunately, the industry is aging. You know, 25% of CPA will retire in the next 5 years, and another 25% will retire in the next 10 years. So it's a very aging industry and a very compliant-driven, not customer experience focused. So for me, it was great to continue and shape the industry, but I was always on a mission to find what's next for me. And in 2016, you know, after being in GPL for 6 years, and the business kind of established, and we built foundation for management and leadership and functions in the business, I started kind of making some experiments with if we can productize a solution for self-employed. And the idea was that, you know, the US tax system is geared towards corporation. If you're a corporation, or if you're a W-2 employee, part of the corporate world, you're golden. You have solutions, someone is taking care for your taxes, for your benefits, for your overall financial well-being. And self-employed is the only segment that all of that burden is on their shoulders, on their head. Nobody is managing their financials. Nobody is managing their taxes. You know, we're saying that taxes is the largest unmanaged expense of a business. And they don't see it as an expense category. They just see it as a dead end. And it's not a dead end. If you can control and manage taxes like you control and manage your sales and marketing, it becomes a profit center. You can save tens of thousands of dollars every year by being in the right tax structure. And we found out that every time self-employed is coming to the practice, you know, we are creating the same solution and again and again. Over time, kind of the next 3 years between 2016 and 2019, we experiment more and more and more how to make that experience more efficient and more complete and more productized. And then I knew that that's it. It's my
so
next
brilliant. I mean, it's so brilliant. I know you've been targeting people who are self-employed specifically right now. I don't know if this is like the targeted segment indefinitely or just is where you're starting, but real estate, creative, business consultants. And when I was preparing for this, I was like, this makes so much sense. Like or even like, I don't know if it's like hairdressers or something, but I'm thinking about all these people who, or even I mean, it's endless. I mean, it's kind of like the market is huge for you
Huge.
because people who are doing the thing that they love don't want to spend time doing this and they don't know how. And they just think it's actually also, I think sometimes an obstacle to people starting out on their own because they're intimidated and they don't know what to do. So having this business is brilliant. How do you find the businesses to partner with?
So early on, we went out of stealth in March of 2020, which was a great time.
Perfect timing.
To go out of stealth. The best companies in the world actually established during, crisis time. So if you can succeed and navigate and be able to pull yourself out of kind of this economic crisis, I think, you'll be able to take on everything. Early on, we made a kind of a bet that we don't want to go after the freelance market. We don't want to go after kind of the gig economy. We want to go after professional services. And again, it was something that was very close to my heart because it was the audience and the segment that we've been using, servicing in GPL. So I knew everything about them. So for me, it was very easy, to start with that segment. And when we start kind of putting kind of the addressable market, who is the segment that adopt S Corps kind of the most, and real estate agents are the segment that adopt S Corp kind of the fastest or the most, although still in really low percentage. It's an audience that pick up the phone, for their living, so you can actually call them for sales and they answer. They're actually under hubs, the Windermere, the Compass, the John L. Scott, the Berkshire Hathaway. So from sales marketing perspective, Uri, my partner, when we start talking about what's the segment that we go after researching and thinking what's the best chances to succeed, we made a decision to double down on real estate agent, which was a great decision for us. And since then,
well, especially now, I mean, think about the real estate market. It's on fire.
Yeah. So, and in a way, it's an industry that recovered pretty fast. March, April was a disaster. All the agents went back home, no showing, no listing, nobody is moving, nobody is selling houses. But then we saw an early indication in May that these guys are a strong segment and they are driven and they are in a business of relationship and they want to help their customer to sell homes and move. So they become innovative about showing from remote, and someone is working with a camera and just do a showing or just Zoom meetings. And we saw an early indication that this market will recover the fastest.
So tell me, if they don't know formations, or like for people like me who are, even though I'm a business owner, I'm still learning about taxes and LLCs versus S Corp. What is an S Corp? And I guess give us the 101 that you're talking to, a 10-year-old.
So S Corp, it's a form of a corporation that basically provide the customer 5 main benefits. One, it's a limited liability entity. Every S Corp, it's an LLC. Not every LLC, it's an S Corp. So S Corporation, it's a federal election that converting your LLC to be a small corporation. So one, you get the limited liability protection and you bifurcate your personal life from your business. Second, there is an amazing tax savings because S Corporation, it's not an entity that is human. It's a corporate, which means S Corp is not subject to self-employment taxes. Self-employment taxes in the US, it's 15.3% on top of your federal and state tax. So in an S corporation situation, your self-employment taxes are zero. But because the IRS don't like a zero self-employment taxes, they ask you to take something called reasonable wage. They ask you to become an employee of your own business. Therefore, S Corp owners are forced to be a W-2 employees of their own business. Now, when you become a W-2 employee, you remember we spoke 10 minutes ago about the fact that the world of tax and accounting is geared towards corporations. So now I have this corporate structure, S Corp, that deal like a regular corporation, and the owner is actually a W-2 employee. And now there is a kind of a guideline, or there's a playbook of how to run a W-2 employee. So what Formations is basically doing is bifurcate, the individual from the corporation. We will manage the corporation. We will manage the individual. We will save you tax. We introduce you to corporate level benefits, because now as a W-2 employee, way easy to consume 401k, HSA, FSA, health insurance, life insurance, all of these corporate perks that you can offer. Same as what Microsoft is offering its employees, you can offer yourself and your team.
And how do you do that?
How do you do that? What?
Like, how are you able to offer that? How are you able to give access to all of those perks?
All
and
of those perks
benefits?
are existing out there. You just need to basically, again,
People just don't know about it.
Don't know about it. Again, think about, again, the map, the IRS code, the map that allow business owners to consume all of those benefits. This is how Microsoft is eligible to offer such benefit to all of the employees. But now, as a small corporation, you're entitled to the same treat. And if you're just,
don't you have to have a certain mass of employees or be part of a larger
No, you can
group?
offer it. Actually, you can offer it for yourself only. So the IRS supports what we call group of one. And this is the beauty about formations. Formations is going after what we call business of one. On solopreneurs, self-employed people that doesn't want to employ other people, doesn't want to grow to be a large corporation. They don't want to be an entity that has, multi-state and locations, whatever. They just want to support themselves and their family. But what we're teaching them basically to treat their business like a business. And don't think about it like a hobby or like a sole prop or whatever. Think about it like a real business. And then what we see, once they think about it like a real business, we see the perception of them, treating themselves like a real business. We see actually more business coming their way.
Oh, of course.
Something about branding and credibility and the way that they carry themselves. It just creates a magic. So
and they can even have more money. They can say okay, we saved all of this money. We can put that toward more marketing.
Exactly.
Or we can just put it in our pocket if we want.
Yeah.
And so what's the actual business model? How does Formations make money?
So Formations is a SaaS subscription model. So basically we charge our customer, flat monthly fee. It can vary between the complexity. We have plans that start at $200 a month and all the way to $350 or $450 a month. And we provide you with all of the incorporation. So we will create the actual LLC S corporation for you. We'll connect you into a business banking. We will do all of the bookkeeping. We will do all of the payroll. We will do the quarterlies. We will do the taxes. We'll prepare and file your taxes, and we'll give you an advice. So Formations, it's a combination between technology that does what technology does best. Efficiency, speed, accuracy, experience, ease to use, while we actually have human in the loop experts that can walk you through what we call insight and strategy. Actually, what the numbers are telling you. And the biggest problem that self-employed is facing is they don't have visibility into the financials. Most of them are basically on autopilot for a year, don't know anything about how much the business is making, how much you make, how much you cash, how much is your profit, what is the disposable income, what is cash flow, how much I can take out. They have zero visibility into the financials, therefore they make poor decisions on their financials. What Formations allow you to see is your numbers on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then our experts will not just help you to make a decision, we will be the partner in this game that will help you also to execute. Because we know that self-employed is not looking for another do-it-yourself software. They're not looking for TurboTax and QuickBooks combination. They want some digital and nice experience, but they want the expert that will help them to make decisions, because Shona, you and I know that being a self-employed, so lonely. And so sometimes so stressful. And there's not so many people that we can ask, an advice. And everybody is a little bit different. But when you find the right partner that can, walk with you into this hard decision and provide you some data, but also help you to make the decision and execute for you, I think it's a big.
Oh, it's brilliant. I have a lot of friends who are real estate brokers that I want to tell about Formations and turn them onto the platform. But my question is, I'm pretty sure they already have many of the service offerings handled. So would they be a good target customer if they only need the tax part?
No, Formations is all or nothing, because our belief is that our playbook can only be executed if we own the annual journey. If we own every aspect of cleaning the books, organize the books, setting the wages, the reasonable compensation, determine the benefit, and file the tax. If they have an accountant, great. We will keep him as the personal consultant, which means he or she can do the 1040, which means if you be a Formations customer, we will walk you through and execute everything on your business. And then we'll give you a K1 and W2 so you can go and deal with your 1040 with your long-term accountant or with, again, the person that making, you have a relationship to do your taxes. So we can either replace, end-to-end, business and personal, or we will take care of everything on the business and you will stay with your personal taxes, with your
Just your
accountant. But
personal- okay.
we won't be able to break bookkeeping and tax and benefit and advice.
Yeah.
It's all included in this flat monthly fee.
Okay, got it. And so are there mistakes that you're seeing most common that you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could just like wear this on my forehead? Like, don't do these three things when you're meeting people. And when one of them is like, I don't even know if this is true, but don't you have to take a certain salary, or is there a certain target salary?
As an S corporation, you need to take
S-corp?
salary. But what we see kind of the most common mistake, one, people are over expensing. People think that by expensing in the business or deducting, they will reduce their tax liability. What they're basically doing, they're diluting basically their cash flow. They have a belief that before the end of the year, I need to expense all of those things to avoid the tax liability. You know, being in the right entity structure, like an S corporation versus sole prop, will save you $15,000 a year. $15,000 a year bottom line, which means if you're on a 30% tax, you need 50,000 expenses, $50,000 expenses in 30% to get into, $15,000 of tax savings. So you don't need to expense, to save tax. Second, we don't see people basically thinking what we call profit first. Profit first is our concept about income minus your profit equal your expenses. People basically think the traditional way, income minus expenses equal your profit. But because your expenses are heavy, there's not much profit left. So what we teach them is to think about profit first. Same as what corporate America is doing. You are enrolled to a $200,000 wage with Microsoft, but you get only $3,000 in your pocket. Why? Because they're deducting taxes, Social Security, Medicare, 401k, HSA, FSA, benefit. This is what we want to teach self-employed. You're making so much money, profit first. Put money into kids funds, HSA, 401k. Take care of yourself first. And by doing that, your tax liability will reduce dramatically. And second, and third, the biggest mistake, self-employed don't ask why. Why I'm in that specific structure, why I'm struggling with taxes, why I'm struggling with cash flow, why I'm not in understanding of what's going on in my business. And setting those goals, which mean I have a goal for a specific year and I want to address it. I think this is the key to be successful. So don't overexpense. Think about profit first. Take as much profit out of the business, 10, 20, 15, 30, whatever is the percentage that you need to live on. And third, always challenge the status quo. Always challenge the existence. Always ask why, and always create your own reality. And if you think about it, just not on sales and marketing, also on your financials, you will see an amazing results on the bottom line.
I love it. Do you have competitors?
We have one company out of San Francisco called Collective, and Collective speaks S Corp. They're doing things a little bit different than us. The way that kind of they think about the annual journey, but they're a valid competitor, great people, good messaging, and they help us in a way to spread the word kind of around S Corps. They're going a little bit more on the freelance market. We're kind of more attacking professional services, but Collective, they are kind of main direct S Corp competitor.
Interesting. And so tell me about partnerships. Are you able to partner? Like, for example, we use Gusto. Are you forming partnerships with other platforms?
Yeah. So Inkfile is the platform that we partner with to do all of the incorporations. And Xero is our accounting partner, and Gusto is our payroll partner, and CCH is our tax partner. And we did an amazing pilot with Windermere, actually starting in May. So with Obi, Jacoby, and Laura and their team to serve their first Seattle-based agents and be kind of the education arm for agents, how to treat their business like a business. And this pilot is still going really well. And we hope to expand it to kind of the whole Windermere presence over their all states. But we're always about looking for channels. We have some interesting partnerships with Bank of America and Wells Fargo and Chase to enable business owners to open bank accounts either online, or we have a dedicated team in the banks that will make the business banking opening easy on customers, just because, again, opening a business bank account still in 2021, still a big hurdle.
Yeah. This is incredible. I love it. So I'm guessing, and maybe this isn't true, but I'm going to make an assumption that the monthly subscription model, some of the pass-through can be savings on all these business relationships that you have on the back end, right? Like I'm paying every month to all of these different vendors. Yep. And so if I'm using you, can I cut out some of those payments and just,
the flat fee,
it almost like pays for itself, it seems like.
So the flat fee for formations will get you, the Gusto, Zero, everything that you need, taxes. So you don't need, in a way, any additional software. Yeah. So basically, we can replace your bookkeeper and your accountant in a box.
Oh, I think it's incredible. I love it. There's no doubt in my mind that this business is going to continue to just completely crush it. I'm curious how you're looking at scaling your actual internal team. I know we've worked together on some roles and helped you find people, but how are you thinking about recruiting and attracting talent in this crazy market?
I think it's both. It's an internal and external work, So the external work is using Fuel Talent, and we're happy with the relationship. I think I told you before, I've been working with many recruiters, and I think your firm is, a level above both the talent and the experience. We're doing a lot of team culture kind of building and activities here to make sure that we can share the formation story and create a great vibe. I think that both Uri and I believe in a philosophy of people first and team first. So even if we're in a tax and accounting industry, people are not working over hours.
You can assume it's like dry, but you guys are definitely not dry. You're not boring.
It's not dry. It's not boring. We're not.
It's not back office energy.
Back office energy. It's super vibrant and rainbow. Way more rainbow than gray. We expect people to be, dedicated, but we're not, over hours during tax season. There's no 70 hours, tax season here. Therefore, we'll be able to attract CPA and accountants to work on something a little bit different within the industry, but, more technology.
Super, and more current and more innovative. Yep. So I just want to read your operating principles because I love them. And I thought that this would be something interesting if anyone is listening and is thinking about working at formations, like this made me want to work there. So it says, work like you own the place. I love that. Earn trust every day, make it simple, be positive, stay positive, results matter, use intuition, seek evidence, don't be a superhero, show up. This is just, it's very reflective of you, by the way. It's very like bottom line, net. Here's the deal. Come here, work here. This is what happens. But like, who wouldn't want to work in this type of environment? If you could just know that this was a great, way of operating in a business, you're going to vet out people who don't play by these rules.
And I think that on top of kind of us, good human, I think our mission is really, easy to kind of to resonate with. We are here to help real people, my people, our people. It's not, again, the wealthy $5 million Amazon employee, that help him to save another $100,000. This is people that really every dollar, count in their overall financial well-being. So I think that the mission about dealing with real people and helping real people and showing an immediate result. Again, for me, I'm a cookie monster. The reason I love taxes because I don't want to delay gratifications. And taxes is something that you can show the difference immediately. You'll bring me your tax return, on March 14. I can fix it that in March 15 you'll file something which will save you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. So this immediate result and immediate impact on people. Again, this is the best reward that you can just live by. And I think that, again, the mission about helping people to think about profit first, to put money into retirement, to think about, a rainy day is just so rewarding. And when you see people basically moving and
you're changing lives. It goes back to your childhood when you said you're just like the people. That word has come up so many times, and I'm the same way. And recruiting can be very fulfilling too, because you're changing lives. Like the trajectory of somebody's career gets changed, or the trajectory of somebody's business gets changed.
Yep.
It's so rewarding versus just kind of selling a widget. And I know that when I've talked to you about like selling, your first reaction was much more about informing and less about selling. Yep. Like, let me try to educate. And I loved going on your website. I learned because there was all your blog posts and the videos of just kind of educating, made it digestible, because it's, for me, a little bit of a subject that I'm like, that's not me. I don't want to deal with that. And the way that you guys have written it, I don't know who your marketer is or if you're who's writing, but it's very easy to understand and to consume. Yeah. So
I think that I think really early on, I identified that give, allow you one day to take, when giving knowledge and allow people to understand, and giving them time and space and really attention and connections. I think that what I found out, and Uri is laughing at me, that, with 2 emails, I can get to anybody in the world, which actually is serving me now. I'm using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my Bible. And I found LinkedIn super useful. And I encourage every person of my team to be on LinkedIn, to be,
LinkedIn's great.
To be up to date on LinkedIn, to connect all of your customers, to vendors, to ecosystem. And by giving, connections and introductions and just be there for people to vent or just to, again, get an advice. At the end of the day, you feel more comfortable either to ask, or by nature, they come and give you back.
100%. I think sometimes that's just intuitive. I don't even think that's something like, I obviously tell my team that, but I think it's also just intuitive. Like, if it's just who you are, you're a giver by nature, and that's who you are, it does come back. It just comes back organically. And people are so happy to open up introductions or doors of any sort. I know I am. So anyone that that I can introduce you to, I'm always, of course, happy.
And I think also from the part of the formations team, we are hiring very young, age, most of out of college, first job people. And the idea is that as we continue to educate our team, our customers, we continue to educate the team. And if we can give these young people a foundation of understanding how the financial landscape works, I'm sure there will be better people in the future of the world.
Yeah. What a gift. Yeah. So what are the long-term plans for the business?
So we're in the middle of raising an A round now. So we've been very successful in the last 18 months since we went out of stealth in March of 2020. We have great results. We want to raise money now.
And you're raising venture?
We are raising venture. Again, venture, family office. We are trying, different directions. So we just started last week, and overall we have great traction and interest. And the idea is to continue to develop the team. We want to be the platform of choice for self-employed. We want to be what TriNet and what PEO, what basically professional employer organization is doing for business of 5 and startups, and giving them this umbrella of services and umbrella of benefits. We want to be we call it the PSEO, the professional self-employed organization for self-employed. We want to be the umbrella of those self-employed, so there will be someone out there that is taking care for them, for fees, for benefits, to negotiate for them, health insurance, banking, credit card, everything that they need in their professional back office financial life. I want them to find a solution in Formations. So we want to hug them, we want to group them, we want them to never be alone. We want them to be part of a community that continue to contribute to the world as a segment that continue to grow. We're talking about probably, huge numbers, probably 50% of the workforce will be self-employed in some nature by 2027. So you're talking 5 years from now, you're talking about a huge segment of the market that will have some supplemental income or full-time job as a self-employed. We want all of those people to be protected, efficient, secure, happy. Don't think about their finance. Just act on their financials. And again, we want to help them to save more money, to be more successful.
I love it. You're going to continue to crush it. I'm wishing you all of the success in the world. My final question for you is, what fuels you? I think I can guess, but what's your fuel that gets you out of bed besides your email?
I think that Ortal is definitely an energizer. I think she's a huge supporter and a cheerleader, both of myself and formations. So I think we have this relationship that we push each other every morning to just be the best. And I think that the mission that we have at the moment to help other people to navigate the complexity of finance, I think this is what drives me. I won't stop until we hit 100,000 people, 200,000 people, 300,000 people that will say, hey, formations changed my life. So starting in the morning, I think I get the boost, directly out of bed, internally in the house, and then I'm getting to the office. I think it's the environment here and our mission what keep me on going.